you. Congratulations for everybody being here on a Sunday afternoon. It's late. There's Domino's Pizza in the back. I'm sure in honor of my healthy eating appearance. If anybody's wondering that candies have as a first ingredient, who knows the first ingredient in the candies? No one read it. What is it? I think I heard it. It's pear juice.
Pear juice?
Pear juice. So look at the little, what is it? It's a juice concentrate, right? Yeah. It shows that you can really concentrate anything and make sugar the first ingredient. So I'm going to spend 20 minutes with you today going through a new idea, which is that has two parts. The first part is that what men eat determines how they feel and what their health is. What men eat determines men's health through their lifespan. And converting testosterone into estrogen for men is an abnormal state that reverses their health, but comes about in every man who has a pot belly. And I'll show you why. So, that concept, by the way, is called Refuel, which is the name of my next book, which will be out on New Year's Eve Day. So this is kind of a sneak preview. And it's based in part on a talk I gave at South by Southwest in Austin. Anybody been to South by Southwest? A couple people in back. It's a really fun conference that's interactive, film, media, and arts and music. So, this talk is called The Biology of Weight. And in it, it's not just men, but women. Men often like to pretend that we're independent of women, but none of us really are. And so women actually are the key to losing the gut for men. And the people in this room are mostly in your early 20s, I would guess. So this, you might think of, is not really relevant for you. Maybe for your dad, or your uncle, or your grandfather. But if you learn this now, you will not have any of the health problems. Well, you will not be in line for any of the health problems that they may have, or that they may be worried about. And that's a really powerful thing, because when you get to your 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s and 80s, health actually determines whether you have energy to do the things you want to do. It can make your world larger or smaller. And for men, weight is never discussed. And I'll show you some data about why. Many of you know that the incidence of obesity in this country is much higher than it's ever been. And in 1994, those three snapshots, 94, 2000, and 2010, oh dear. This slide has a mind of its own, but what it shows is that the rate of obesity and the rate of diabetes are directly correlated. As your weight goes up, your risk of diabetes goes up. If you're a 22-year-old man and you are obese, which means that your body mass index is 30 or greater, which means in practical terms that you're about 60 pounds overweight, more or less, given your height, then you have 8 times the incidence of diabetes as a man who is not obese. 8 times. And over the next 30 years. That might seem really far away, and it is for many guys. So we don't really talk very much. We want to be persuasive about weight, about diabetes or hypertension or heart disease or gout or back pain or any of the things that come when you are overweight. Instead, we talk about sex and strength and feeling energetic, because those are some of the things that men care about. To get to this, though, we have to look at some of the medical differences between men and women, and why a gender-specific approach for men is so important. Men, a baby boy born today is expected to live to 76. A little girl born today is expected to live to 81. And this 5-year difference is true worldwide. It's not just the United States. Women routinely live longer than men. About half of all men will get cancer of some kind. About a third of women will get cancer of some kind. Out of all the deaths that occur in the workplace, where somebody drops dead of a heart attack or an aneurysm or a stroke or something else, almost all of them, more than 9 out of 10, are in men. Less than 1 out of 10 are in women. In men overall, over the age of 18, almost 3/4, 72%, are overweight or obese, and only about 64% of women are overweight or obese. And that seems like a lot, and actually is a lot. It's much more than it was 30 years ago. But what's interesting is that rise in obesity is mostly in men in the last 15 years. These are funny slides. Okay, so men were 27.5% obese in 2000 and 35% now. Women have been 35% obese for the last 15 years. So why are men becoming more obese more quickly than women? Why has that occurred in the last 15 years? What's up? I think it's 3 things. The first thing are the toxins in the environment that actually change how your hormones work as a man. The second is that it's very easy for men to inhale highly processed, ultra-processed food that's very rapidly converted to starch and sugar, and that sugar is very rapidly converted to visceral fat, which is fat that surrounds your belly. Fat not on the outside, not here. That's subcutaneous fat, but you can grab, it's kind of squishable. That's fat on the outside. That fat in men is not dangerous. It's the fat on the inside that surrounds your spleen, your pancreas, your liver. That fat is active. It makes hormones. And the hormones it makes convert the testosterone that your testes make into estrogen. For a lot of men, that's a surprise. But that's a key hormonal difference. Testosterone is not important just because it helps you with secondary sexual characteristics. It helps you have erections, it helps you grow a beard, it helps you develop muscle, it helps you have a sex drive. But it's important because it interrelates with the other hormones that regulate body weight, especially insulin, which has 2 functions. Insulin stores fat and puts sugar into cells. Insulin that circulates and has chronically high levels, it's easy to become insulin resistant to, because your body is used to having a lot of insulin around. And that means it's more available to take the sugar in your bloodstream and store it as fat. So location is everything for fat. And fat on the outside, squishable, not hormone active. Fat on the inside is. And that's where men store fat, differently than women. Women store fat in their hips and their thighs. Men store fat only inside. So we're at a little bit of a biological disadvantage. Here's David in 1504. Here's David in 2000. That's what happens. Even to... Now, I'll let Dr. Oz explain this to us. Can I have the volume up? Volume up? Let's start it again. Really surprising. All right, let's try it.
Yes, you gotta measure that. It's down on your knees here. Well, that is kind of low. Where should you worry about enough. It's like old guys will wear it up around their nipples. Yes. Yeah, what's going on here?
I don't know.
43 inches. You have to be 86 inches tall. That's 44. You'll get taller. You'll get a belly. That belly fat in there, it does lots of things that aren't in our best interest. The most important for most guys, it takes all the testosterone that your testicles make, it converts it to estrogen. Oh. So it turns you into a girl. Oh. If I see a big waist first, then I say, okay, first of all, the testicle size is normal. That's what you gotta do. Really? Yeah. Well, testicles are 2 by 3. Alright, that should be about that size. And they're 6 if they get
Wait, let's see that size again, because I didn't see what you did.
Okay, let's just examine.
What, about 2? Wait a minute. Later, I'm going to help.
Alright, then maybe you. Then we're talking to you.
I'll go back in tomorrow.
What's your example? How you trying?
I'm going to be more. Oh, no, you're really going to examine my testicles?
Who can tell me, other than ratings, why Dr. Oz is examining Jimmy Kimmel's testes? Sorry? Publicity, that's the same as ratings. Television ratings. What's the science behind what he just did?
Get an idea of how much testosterone his body's producing based on the testing size?
That's correct. And why was he guessing that Kimmel's testes might be a little low, might be a little small?
Because more estrogen fat, more estrogen.
Because he has more estrogen. And where does that estrogen come from on a man who has a big pot belly? Visceral fat inside. That's right. So one of the things bodybuilders get, actually, who take extra testosterone or take extra growth hormone, is tiny little testes. They shrink because the body trims off its production of testosterone because it's getting testosterone from the outside. And the estrogen in the body rises relative to native testosterone production. So this is a way of thinking about what's inside of you that most guys never get, unless you happen to watch Jimmy Kimmel. So the whole idea that your fat might be working against you in this way is really new, novel, and very motivating. Because, as I said, where you store fat matters. So for guys, your waist should be half your height. Now, that's one way to tell whether you're overweight. Another is to stand naked in front of a mirror, put your head back, and then look down. If you see your belly, it's too big. You can also do this, and then look to the side and see what is out further, your belly or your pants. Those are really practical ways. Half the guys in this room will go home and do that tonight. Now, it's not just food. There are endocrine disruptors. There's a chemical called atrazine. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but there's a chemical called atrazine that increases corn supply in the United States. It's one of the most heavily applied synthetic herbicides in the world, actually. And it is responsible for a very significant increase in production of corn in the Midwest. And you see that the yellow and purple spots are where there is the most atrazine usage in pounds per square mile. And it's not an exact correlation, this was in 1991, but 16 years later, there's more obesity in the Midwest and Southeast than there is elsewhere. And atrazine causes feminization of frogs. It changes them from males into females and reduces testosterone levels and increases estrogen levels. You get atrazine in groundwater. You also get it in a lot of commercially produced crops. but it's primarily in groundwater. The other big toxin but you can look on the EPA's website and find out the atrazine concentration in your own groundwater, and then learn to drink filtered water and filter it yourself. Simple, and I think life-saving. The other big toxin is BPA, which is bisphenol A, which is most commonly on paper receipts. And if you get a receipt from a gas station or anything else that has the thermal paper imprinted, don't touch the inside of the receipt and then touch a mucous membrane or your skin. Pick your nose. Because then that BPA on the receipt gets transmitted to you, and bisphenol A has now been taken out of baby bottles in the United States. It's been outlawed in Canada. It's outlawed in part of the European Union. It shouldn't be permitted near food products in this country, but it still is. And yet, the biggest source is in those paper receipts. Another reason to get receipts on your phone. Sleep is very important because between men and women, because men make growth hormone and testosterone while they sleep, right before REM sleep, which is when you dream. So if you don't get enough sleep, you're not making enough growth hormone and testosterone. And men who sleep less than 5 hours a night, 5 hours or less, are 4 times as likely to be obese as men who sleep 6 hours or more. The optimal sleep time is actually individual, but for most men it's between 7 and 9 hours. More than 9 hours, actually, it's reversed. Men, again, become more obese with more than 9 hours on average per week of sleep. If you cut an hour a night of sleep, you're pulling an all-nighter once a week. Sex is also pretty hard if you're sleepy all the time. But sleep apnea is a real problem for men. And sleep apnea affects between 1 out of 25 to up to 1 out of 4 people. And sleep apnea is a condition where the muscles in your throat relax, so much so that they close off your airway. And there are 3 S's for sleep apnea. One is constant snoring. The other is daytime sleepiness, where you fall asleep all the time. And the third is that your partner tells you that you stop breathing while you are sleeping. So if you have those 3 S's, you have sleep apnea until proven otherwise. You need to see a sleep specialist to make sure it's diagnosed. Men who are obese are much more likely to have sleep apnea than men who are not. And stress. Men and women handle stress very differently. We have a Mad Men solution where men don't really admit to stress. That's common. And actually a little bit of stress is very good for you. It helps you focus, it increases productivity, makes you more alert. I have a little bit of stress now because I'm giving a talk. But having a lot of stress all the time is bad for you. Increases your cortisol level and reduces your ability to metabolize. It also can change your mood. This is a graph of depression by gender and BMI. BMI, again, is body mass index, which is the measure that physicians use to tell obesity. And you see that men, in general, have about a 2% incidence of depression until they become severely obese, and then it actually drops a little bit to 1%. And then men who have a BMI of 40 or greater, about 100 pounds overweight, have a depression incidence of 12%, which is about the same as women. So that's what I want you to get from this slide. That men and women who are about 100 pounds overweight have about the same incidence of depression, but that women otherwise are twice as likely to be depressed as men. That may also be because women are more likely to see a physician for it, and men are less likely to recognize it. And then there are lots of behavioral differences. Men simply want to get naked, okay? It doesn't really matter what men look like, they just want to get naked. Women care about what they look like when they're naked. They want to look great. Men don't care. Men like to avoid doctors and exams. You know, this is about as close as some guys will get to the doctor. I'm on stage, they're in the audience. Women actually enjoy, often, the process of learning about their bodies taking care of their bodies, want to know, see a physician or other clinicians as helpful and interesting, men often have to be nudged into it. Like it's not manly to try to take care of yourself. And then finally, men see dieting especially as something, and weight specifically, as something to conquer. It's a problem, I gotta solve it. It's a problem, let's fix it. Women are schooled to know much more about nutrition and food and cooking than men are. And it's important to many women to actually go through the process of understanding what's in food, how it got there, what to do about it, how to raise your own food, how even to cook. So these behavioral differences between men and women have added up, I think, to an obesity epidemic in men that we've never seen before. Now, women can really be helpful to men about this, but most women have no idea how to talk to a man that they care about, their brother, their husband, their father, their grandfather, about their weight, because they know or feel that they'll just become really ticked off or distant or upset, and they don't want to do that. And of course, men don't want to be upset. So we asked in our beta study, we did a beta test of our program, what were the phrases that women gave you that were really helpful to you while you were getting stronger, while you were building muscle, while you were on this new program? And what were the phrases that were least helpful? And this is what we found. Women who said, you can do it, you look great, I can tell you've lost weight, I don't want to lose you, and your snoring is better. Nice, huh? These are encouraging things. They're appreciative things. They're things that say, I care about you, I'm here to help. They're great. These are the worst phrases. This time will it work? Are you sure it's healthy? Don't lose too much. No workout today? Is that on your plan? These phrases are phrases of judgment. They're phrases of criticism. They're phrases of doubt. Doubt, Buddha says, separates people. So it's very easy for women to use these phrases. It's very easy, frankly, for men to use these phrases with women. And equally harsh. The point is that if we get the right phrases, we give people the right phrases, they communicate more easily about what you both care about. So we constructed a man's weight loss plan that has these characteristics, that is hard work for a short time. It's not a diet, it's simple, it's modern and trackable, because I believe in technology, and because men like it. And if you can measure it, it's a lot easier to change. It leverages the metabolic advantages that men do have, which is that men build muscle much more readily, and you burn calories without exercising by building muscle. So you're burning calories while you're sleeping, because your muscle is metabolizing much faster than your fat. And it's tailored, competitive, and specific to men and our interests. So we did a 24-day program with a 3-day jump start. We gave people stress and sleep suggestions. We had 3 rules, which I'll give you. They are, don't eat anything you can crush or crumple. Hitting a zucchini with a hammer doesn't count. Think about that. Like, what's a hot dog bun, crackers, tacos made out of tortilla chips? If you can crush or crumple it, it's been processed within an inch of its life and it's hardly recognizable. And those calories get glommed onto visceral fat faster than anything else. You drink 3 liters of citrus water a day, preferably filtered, and you don't drink your calories. This is true for the first 17 days out of 24. After that, you can get 2 drinks a week. If you drink calories, they have no satiety. Satiety means feeling full and fully satisfied. You don't get the enzyme, the hormone in the bottom of your stomach, which is called CCK, which is released from your intestine, doesn't get released with fluid unless it's really thick fluid and it's at least 600 milliliters. So you have to drink a smoothie really fast and a big one in order to have any liquid be satiating or having pleasurably full. So 3 liters of citrus water a day. Citrus water is defined as having a whole orange, lemon, or satsuma tangerine, divided into small parts, preferably quarters or smaller, and dunked in the 3 liters of water. You can also simply add a quarter liter of citrus juice, quarter cup, of citrus juice in that 3 liters. We're adding the citrus for 3 reasons. One is flavor. The second is synephrine. In the lining of citrus, there's a chemical that's in some over-the-counter weight loss pills called synephrine. It actually speeds up your metabolism. And the third is that the vitamin C in the citrus increases growth hormone production at night. And then finally, 6-incher, which refers to a plate. When you're at home, use a 6-inch plate with a rim, which is not for more food, but is for decoration. So you can see what you're eating and the plate looks full. If the plate looks full, you are more likely to think, hey, I have a lot to eat, than if the plate looks really big and there's only a little on it. It might be exactly the same amount, but if there's only a little on it, your eye says, heck, I could eat 2 or 3 of these, and you can. But if the plate looks full and you eat 1 6-inch plate, then you will be able to regulate your portions without counting anything. We also gave guys a meal plan, told them how their testosterone worked, which you've just learned, and created gender-specific messaging about specific texts that we sent guys that would help them with information and action. So we did really well. My guys all worked great. They improved their erectile function. 57% of them said they had more frequent and better erections than when they started, and those were only the guys that could improve. I don't know about the rest of them. 62% lost 10 pounds or more, 67% increased their energy levels, 3/4 gained muscle mass, and 3/4 enhanced their sleep quality in just this 24-day period. And these were guys that I recruited by putting flyers in the bathrooms, men's bathrooms of Taco Bell and Burger King and around the hospital. I happened to know a couple of them, but it was a coincidence. It's a random guy sample in a short period of time. So, easiest steps, some of which I've given you, work better than motivation. Men have natural metabolic advantages in building muscle, in producing growth hormone and testosterone, and in being able to leverage how their body works that they've not utilized and can utilize. And if men include women as partners, it is much more likely to be successful, that those men will be healthy and strong and capable, and like you, lead the world. Thanks so much.